The ship called the Persimmon was small and old. It made strange sounds when it moved through space, but it worked well, and that was enough for Ha. Sat in the pilot's seat and watched station grow larger through the window. The station was huge. It looked like a metal flower floating in the darkness. Lights blinked on every level. Ships flew in and out like bees around a hive. Had seen many stations before, but this one was different. This one was famous. Station sat at the meeting point of 12 trade routes. Ships from across the galaxy came here to buy and sell. Over 400 different species lived on this station. Some were friendly, some were not. Had heard stories about this place. She knew she needed to be careful. "Cargo ship Persimmon, you are clear to dock at Bay 47, said a voice through the radio. Press the button to reply. Thank you, coming in now. She guided her ship slowly into the docking bay. The metal doors closed behind her. Air filled the space with a soft hissing sound. When the light turned green, stood up from her seat and stretched her body. She was not tall. On Earth, people often thought she was younger than 28 because of her size and her soft face. She had learned long ago that being small made others think she was weak. Sometimes that was useful. Walked down the ramp of her ship. The docking bay smelled like oil and metal. Workers moved around, carrying boxes and checking ships. Most of them were not human. She saw creatures with scales, creatures with fur, creatures with too many eyes. None of them looked at her for long. Humans were new to this part of space. Nobody knew what to think of them yet. The customs office was at the end of the bay. Walked there with her bag over her shoulder. Inside, a large creature sat behind a desk. He was reptilian with green scales and yellow eyes. His body was thick with muscle. A name tag on his chest said, "Look down at." His eyes moved slowly over her small body. He did not seem impressed. "Species?" he asked. His voice was deep and rough. "Human," said. Typed something into his computer. First time on. "Yes." Purpose of visit. Cargo delivery. Medical supplies for the Prey Guild. Made a sound that might have been a laugh. Prey Guild, of course. He pressed a button and a small card came out of a machine. He pushed it across the desk to her. "Your quarters are in the Prey District, level 12. Follow the blue signs." Took the card, Prey District. "Your scans show herbivore traits," said. He did not explain more. He was already looking at the next person in line. Put the card in her pocket and walked away. She understood what had happened. The station systems had scanned her body and made a decision. No claws, no fangs, no venom, flat teeth. The computer thought she was prey. She did not correct anyone. The station was divided into levels. Learned this quickly as she walked. The upper levels were bright and clean. The creatures there were large and powerful. They walked with pride. They showed their teeth when they talked. These were the predator species. They ruled this station. The lower levels were different. The lights were dimmer. The hallways were narrower. The creatures here were smaller, softer. They moved quickly and quietly. They kept their heads down. These were the prey species. They survived by staying out of the way. Found her quarters on level 12. The room was small but clean. A bed, a desk, a window that looked out at the stars. She put down her bag and sat on the bed. Through the thin walls she could hear her neighbors, soft voices, gentle sounds. The prey species talked differently than the predators. They did not shout or growl. They whispered. A knock came at her door. Opened it and found a small creature standing in the hallway. She looked like a rabbit, but she walked on two legs and wore simple clothes. Her fur was gray, and her large eyes were full of nervous kindness. "Hello," the creature said. Her voice was soft and quick. I live next door. I heard a new person arrived. I wanted to welcome you." Smiled, "Thank you, I am." Ears twitched. "You are human. I have never met a human before. You look gentle." "I try to be," said. Seemed to relax a little. "This is a good district. The people here are kind, but you must be careful. The predator clans sometimes come down here. They take things. They hurt people. It is best to stay quiet when they come. Nodded slowly, I understand. That night walked through the prey district. She wanted to learn this place. She wanted to understand how it worked. The prey species here were beautiful in their own way, creatures with soft fur, creatures with gentle eyes, creatures that flinched when shadows moved. Near the market stopped. She heard loud voices ahead, rough voices, predator voices. She moved closer and looked around a corner. 3 wolf-like creatures stood in a circle. They were tall and strong, with sharp teeth and thick muscles. In the middle of them was the small rabbit creature was on the ground. Her basket of goods was scattered around her. One of the wolves was laughing. "Pay the protection fee," the wolf said, "or we take everything." His voice shook. "I already paid this month, please." The wolf kicked her basket. Fruits rolled across the ground. "Then pay again." Watched from the shadows, her body was very still. Her breathing was slow and even. She did not move. She did not help, not yet. But her eyes tracked every movement. She counted the wolves. She measured their size. She noticed how they stood, how they balanced their weight where their weaknesses were. She was being patient. For now, 1 week passed on station, learned many things. She learned that the prey species woke up early and worked late. She learned that they shared food with each other when times were hard. She learned that they told stories at night, stories about better places where predators did not hunt them. Became part of their world. She helped carry heavy boxes in the market. She fixed broken machines with tools from her ship. She sat with the elders and listened to their words. The prey species were surprised by her at first. Humans were strange to them, but was quiet and kind, and soon they accepted her. Became her closest friend. The small rabbit creature visited every morning. They would drink warm tea together and talk about simple things. Told about her family, about her dream to save enough money to leave the station, about her fear of the predator clans. "They come every month," said one morning. Her ears were flat against her head. "They take our money. They call it protection, but they are the ones we need protection from." Held her cup of tea and said nothing. She just listened. An old creature named Doha often joined their talks. Doha was a species that looked like deer. He was old and thin, with gray fur and tired eyes. He had lived on station for 40 years. He remembered when things were worse. He said things were always getting worse. "Tell me about your world," Doha said to one evening. They sat in the small garden that the prey species kept on level 12. It was the only green place in the district. "Tell me about Earth." Thought for a moment. Then she spoke. "Earth is beautiful. We have forests where trees grow so tall you cannot see the sky. We have oceans so wide you cannot see the other side. We have mountains covered in snow and deserts covered in sand. Every part of Earth is different." Doha closed his eyes and smiled. "It sounds peaceful." "Sometimes," said, "not always." Leaned forward. "Are there predators on Earth?" "Yes," said. "Many kinds, lions, tigers, wolves, bears, sharks in the water, eagles in the sky." Shivered. "How did your species survive?" Looked at her tea. The liquid was still and dark. "We learned to be clever. We learned to work together. We learned to never give up." She did not say more than that. High above the prey district in the upper levels of the station, the predator clans watched everything. They had spies everywhere. They knew about the new human. They talked about her in their meeting halls. Was the leader of the strongest clan. He was massive, like a bear made of muscle and fury. His fur was black and his eyes were gold. When he walked, other predators moved out of his way. He had killed many enemies. He had never lost a fight. "Tell me about this human," said to his scout. The scout was a small, fast creature with many eyes. He bowed low before speaking. "She is weak, Alpha, small body, no claws, no fangs. She eats plants and sleeps deeply at night. She poses no threat to us." Laughed. The sound echoed through the hall. "A prey animal that thinks it can live among prey. How fitting. Perhaps we should hunt her for sport." The other predators laughed with him, all except one. Was a huntress. Her species looked like the panthers of Earth, but larger and smarter. Her fur was dark purple, and her eyes were silver. She had the best instincts of any predator on the station. She could smell fear from 100 meters away. She could sense danger before it arrived. And something about the human bothered her. Had watched from the shadows for 3 days. She had seen the human walk through the market. She had seen her talk to the prey species. She had seen her smile and laugh and act gentle. But instinct screamed at her. Something was wrong. Something did not fit. Alpha said, her voice was calm, "I would like to watch this human longer." Waved his massive paw. "Do what you wish, but do not waste time on prey. We have real enemies to worry about." Said nothing more. She left the hall and returned to the shadows. She would keep watching. Down in the prey district did not know she was being watched, or perhaps she did. It was hard to tell with humans. 3 days later, was attacked again. This time it was worse. The wolf-like predators did not just take her money, they beat her. They left her bleeding in an alley behind the market. A child found her and screamed for help. Was there in minutes. She knelt beside and looked at her wounds. The rabbit creature was crying. Blood stained her gray fur. Her arm was bent wrong. "It hurts," whispered. "It hurts so much." "I know," said. Her voice was soft and steady. "I know, but you are going to be okay, I promise." His hands moved with practiced skill. She had done this many times before in other places, in other wars. She cleaned the wounds. She set the broken bone. She wrapped bandages tight. Her movements were calm and precise, not a single wasted motion. Doha arrived with other elders. They watched work. They saw how her hands did not shake. They saw how her breathing stayed slow. They saw the look in her eyes. It was not fear. It was not anger. It was something else. Something cold and patient. When finished, looked up at her. The rabbit's large eyes were wet with tears. "You are not scared of them," whispered. "The predators, you are not scared at all." Wiped the blood from her hands. She looked at for a long moment. "I am trying to be patient," she said. From a rooftop above, hidden in darkness, watched everything. Her silver eyes were wide. For the first time in her life, she felt something she could not name. It felt like fear. But that was impossible, was never afraid. The human stood up and helped to her feet. She smiled again, soft and gentle, like a creature that had never known violence. His fur rose along her spine. Something was very, very wrong. The medical supplies that brought to the station were worth a fortune. They were rare medicines that could cure diseases, heal wounds, and save lives. The Prey Guild had paid a lot of money for them. They needed them badly. Wanted them. He sat in his command chamber and made his decision. The medicines would make his clan rich. The prey species could not stop him. They never could. "Send 3 enforcers," ordered. "Take everything. If anyone resists, break their bones." He chose wolves for the job. They were fast and cruel. Their leader was named. He had yellow eyes and a scar across his face. He liked hurting things that were smaller than him. The 3 wolves walked into the prey district like they owned it, because they did. Every prey species they passed looked away. Mothers pulled their children inside. Shops closed their doors. The market fell silent. Smiled. He loved this feeling, the fear, the power. It made him feel alive. They reached the storage building where the medicines were kept. 2 guards stood at the door. They were shaking. "Move," said. The guards moved. The wolves walked inside. Boxes of medicine filled the room, laughed and started loading them onto a cart. Then a voice came from behind them. "Those do not belong to you." The wolves turned. A human woman stood in the doorway. She was small. She wore simple clothes. Her hands hung loose at her sides. Looked at her and felt nothing. No threat, no danger, just a tiny, soft creature with no claws and no fangs. "Go away, little thing," said. This does not concern you." The human did not move. "Those medicines are for sick people, children, elders, people who will die without them." Walked toward her. He was 3 times her size. His muscles moved under his fur like snakes. I said, "Go away." He reached out and shoved her hard. What happened next changed everything. The human moved, not fast in the way predators understood fast, not with explosive power or wild strength. She moved like water, smooth, flowing, impossible to stop. She caught his arm as it pushed her. She twisted her body and pulled, felt his weight shift. His balance broke. Before he understood what was happening, pain exploded through his elbow. The joint bent the wrong way. He heard a crack. He screamed and fell. The second wolf lunged at her with his claws out. The human stepped forward, not backward. She moved inside his reach where his claws could not touch her. Her hand shot up and struck his throat, not hard enough to kill, just hard enough to close his airway. The wolf choked. His eyes went wide. He could not breathe. The human grabbed his leg and twisted. His knee broke. He fell beside, gasping and crying. The third wolf stood frozen. His eyes moved between his fallen brothers. His legs were shaking. Every instinct in his body screamed at him. "Run, run, run." The human looked at him. Her eyes were calm, her face showed nothing. No anger, no excitement, nothing. She was not breathing hard. Her heartbeat, which predators could hear, had not changed at all. She was as calm as if she were drinking tea. The third wolf turned and ran. He ran faster than he had ever run before. He did not look back. The storage room was silent. Lay on the ground, holding his broken arm. Tears ran down his fur. He looked up at the human with new eyes, not the eyes of a predator looking at prey, the eyes of an animal that had just met something higher on the chain. "What are you?" he whispered. The human looked down at him. Her voice was soft, almost kind. "I am someone who was trying to be patient, but my patience has ended." She stepped over him and walked out of the storage building. Outside, the prey species had gathered. They had heard the screams. They had expected to see the human broken and bleeding on the ground. Instead, they saw her walk out without a scratch on her body. Was at the front of the crowd. Her broken arm was still wrapped in bandages. Tears ran down her face, but these were not tears of fear. "You saved the medicines," she said. Nodded. Doha pushed through the crowd. His old eyes were wide with something that looked like hope. "How did you do that? They were warriors. They were trained killers." Looked at the old. "On my world we had predators too, bigger, faster, stronger than us. We could not beat them with claws or fangs, so we learned other ways." "What ways?" asked. "Patience, timing, knowing where to strike." Looked at the sky, at the metal ceiling of the station that hid the stars. "We learned that size is not everything. Speed is not everything. The one who wins is the one who does not stop." Watch from the shadows. Her silver eyes were fixed on the human. Now she understood. Now she knew what her instincts had been screaming. This creature was not prey. This creature had never been prey. She had walked into the prey district wearing a mask. She had let everyone believe she was harmless. She was the most dangerous thing on this station. And was going to tell. The prey district buzzed with whispers that night. Everyone was talking. The human, the fight, the wolves that had run away crying. For the first time in years, the prey species did not lock their doors. For the first time in years, they felt something strange and wonderful. They felt hope. His roar shook the walls of his command chamber. "3 warriors," he shouted. "3 of my best fighters, beaten by one small female prey animal." The other predators in the room said nothing. They had never seen their alpha so angry. His golden eyes burned with rage. His claws scratched deep marks into his metal throne. Stood in the corner, watching. She was the only one who was not afraid. "She is not prey," said quietly. "I tried to warn you." Turned his fury toward her. Then what is she? I do not know, but I think we should find out before we do anything else. Breathed hard through his nose. His rage was hot, but he was not stupid. He had survived this long because he knew when to fight and when to think. Bring me everything, he ordered. Every piece of information about humans. I want to know what we are dealing with. The researchers worked all night. They searched the galactic database. They read old reports from the first ships that met humans. They watched videos. They studied the data. In the morning, they gathered in the command chamber. Their faces were pale. Their hands were shaking. Speak, commanded. The lead researcher, a small lizard creature with big glasses, stepped forward. His voice trembled as he spoke. Humans are not prey, Alpha. They are predators, but not like any predators we know. Leaned forward, explain. The researcher pressed a button. A picture of Earth appeared on the wall, a blue and green planet with white clouds. This is there. It is covered with dangers. The gravity is heavy. The weather is extreme, and it is full of creatures that can kill. More pictures appeared. Lions with golden fur, wolves with hungry eyes, bears with massive claws, sharks with rows of teeth. These are some of the predators on Earth. They are faster than humans, stronger than humans. They have better weapons built into their bodies. Looked at the pictures. These were real predators. He respected them. Then how did humans survive? The researcher swallowed hard. They are what is called persistence predators. They do not catch their prey quickly. They follow it for hours, for days, for weeks. They walk and walk and walk until the prey cannot run anymore, until it falls down from exhaustion. Then they kill it. The room was silent. Humans do not need to be fast, the researcher continued. They just need to never stop. His fur rose on his neck. What else? They form bonds with apex predators. They take wolves and big cats and bears and make them into companions. Not slaves, partners. They run together, hunt together, sleep side by side. One of the predator lords whispered, "That is insane." The researcher nodded. There is more. Humans have something called combat calm. When they are in danger, when they are fighting, their fear turns off. Their minds become cold and clear. Their bodies do exactly what is needed. No wasted energy, no panic. Another picture appeared. It showed a small human woman standing over a fallen predator 3 times her size. She was smiling. The female on our station was a combat medic on Earth. She has been in many battles. She has killed many enemies. She has also saved many lives. Stared at the picture. His rage had gone cold. Something else had replaced it, something he had not felt in decades. Spoke again. She was never afraid of us. She was waiting, watching, learning our weaknesses. She let us think she was prey because it gave her power. Stood up slowly. His massive body cast a long shadow across the room. Call the other clan leaders, now. Within the hour, the leaders of every predator clan sat in his command chamber. They were the most powerful beings on station. Together, they controlled everything. Showed them the data. He showed them the pictures. He told them about persistence hunting and combat calm and humans who ran with wolves. When he finished, nobody spoke. Then an old voice broke the silence. Sulka was the eldest predator on the station. His species looked like crocodiles, ancient and patient. He had lived for over 200 years. On my world, Sulka said, we have an old legend, a story that mothers tell their children to make them behave. It speaks of a creature so perfect in its killing that it forgot how to look like a killer. It walks softly. It speaks gently. It smiles at its enemies, and when it strikes, even gods weep. He looked at the picture of the human woman on the wall. I think we have found that creature. Down in the prey district, did not know about the meeting. She was sitting with Doha in the small garden. The old had asked to speak with her alone. The others are afraid to ask, Doha said, but I am old and will die soon anyway, so I will ask. He looked at her with his tired eyes. What are you really? not what species. What are you inside? Was quiet for a long moment, then she spoke. On Earth, my people were never the strongest, never the fastest. We could not fly, we could not breathe underwater. We had no armor, no venom, no claws. Every other creature was better than us at something. She looked at her hands, small hands, gentle hands, hands that could heal wounds and break bones. But we learned, we watched, we adapted, we made tools, we made fire, we made plans, and most importantly, we refused to die. Doha nodded slowly, and now? Met his eyes. Now I am someone who has seen too much suffering, someone who cannot walk past a crying child, someone who made a choice the moment I saw bleeding in the market. What choice? Smiled. It was a warm smile, a kind smile, the smile of a protector. To stop being patient. The message arrived at dawn. Read it twice. Alpha of the strongest predator clan wanted to meet her, not in his territory, not in hers, in the central plaza, the neutral ground where all species could walk freely. Was terrified. It is a trap, they will kill you. Put down the message. If they wanted to kill me, they would not send an invitation. Something has changed. What could change the predator clans? Smiled softly, fear. She walked to the central plaza alone. She did not bring weapons. She did not bring friends. She walked the way she always walked. Calm, quiet, like a woman going to buy vegetables at the market. But this time was different. This time everyone watched. The central plaza was a massive open space in the heart of the station. Light came from panels in the high ceiling, making artificial sunshine. Plants grew in large pots along the edges. In the center, a fountain made of crystal sang with falling water. Thousands of creatures filled the plaza. Predators stood on one side, prey huddled on the other. Between them, an empty circle waited. Walked into that circle. From the predator's side emerged. He was even more massive than she had imagined. Standing on his back legs, he was nearly 3 meters tall. His black fur shone in the light. His golden eyes fixed on her with ancient hunger. His claws, each one as long as her finger, clicked against the metal floor. He stopped 3 meters away from her. The distance was intentional. It was the distance a predator keeps when it is not sure if it should attack. For a long moment, they just looked at each other. Then did something that shocked everyone. He made a dominance display. He rose to his full height. He spread his arms wide. He opened his mouth and roared. The sound shook the walls. It echoed through every level of the station. It was the roar of an apex predator, a sound designed by millions of years of evolution to create terror in everything that heard it. Prey species screamed, some fainted, even the other predators stepped back. Did not move. She did not flinch. She did not blink. She did not step back. She stood exactly where she was and looked up at the massive creature before her. Her heartbeat did not change. Her breathing stayed slow and even. Her eyes met his without fear. In that moment, understood. He understood what had sensed from the beginning. He understood what the researchers had tried to explain with data and pictures. He understood what Sulka had known from ancient legends. This small, soft creature was not prey. She was not even a normal predator. She was something beyond, something that the galaxy had never seen before. Something apex. Slowly lowered his arms, he closed his mouth, he stepped backward. It was a small movement, but every creature in the plaza saw it. Every creature understood what it meant. The alpha had given way. Whispers spread like fire through the crowd. Predators looked at each other with wide eyes. Prey species held their breath. Spoke, his voice was rough, but there was no anger in it, only respect. The prey district is under the protection of this human. Any clan that challenges this will answer to me. It was a peace offering, a surrender, a recognition of power. But shook her head. No, she said. Her voice was soft, but it carried through the silent plaza. The prey district does not need your protection. They do not need mine either. Confusion crossed face. Then what do you want? Looked past him at the prey species gathered on the other side of the plaza. She saw standing at the front, her bandaged arm held close to her chest. She saw Doha with tears running down his old face. She saw hundreds of gentle creatures who had spent their whole lives afraid. I want them to know they can protect themselves, said. I want them to stand up. I want them to stop being afraid. She turned to face the prey species directly. You are not weak, she said to them. You have never been weak. You have survived because you are clever and kind and strong in ways that predators do not understand. You do not need claws to have courage. You do not need fangs to have pride. Stepped forward. Her legs were shaking, but she walked into the circle. She stood beside and faced the predators. Her large eyes were still wet with tears, but they were not tears of fear anymore. They were tears of hope. Doha walked forward next, then another, then a child. One by one the prey species stepped into the circle. They stood together, they stood tall. Watched from the predator's side. Her silver eyes were wide. She had spent her whole life hunting. She had spent her whole life believing that power came from claws and fangs and the ability to kill. But looking at the prey species standing together, looking at the small human woman who had made them brave, understood something new. True power was not about violence. True power was about making others believe in themselves. That night, things on station began to change. It did not happen all at once. Change never does. But slowly, the old ways started to fade. Predators stopped taking from the prey species. The protection fees ended. Prey walked freely through all levels of the station. Months passed. New human ships arrived, curious about the station where one woman had changed everything. They brought trade and technology and stories of Earth. Became a strange friend too. They met sometimes in the small garden on level 12. They drank tea and talked about hunting and healing and the nature of strength. One night, asked the question that had bothered her since the beginning. Do all humans do what you did? Walk into a den of predators and make them bow? Laughed. It was a warm sound full of life and joy. No, most of us just want to live quietly. We want peace and family and simple happiness. Then why did you fight? Looked up at the stars through the station's window. Her eyes were distant, seeing something far away. Because when something we love is threatened, she said softly, we become something else entirely. Nodded slowly. She thought about her own pack, about the one she would die to protect. Maybe, she realized, predators and humans were not so different after all. In the garden below was teaching young children how to stand tall, how to look larger than they were, how to face fear and not run away. She was not afraid anymore. None of them were. And somewhere in the stars, on a small blue planet called Earth, 7 billion humans lived their quiet lives. They worked and loved and raised their children. They laughed and cried and dreamed of better days. They looked harmless. They looked gentle. They were the apex of apex. And they always protected their own.